You've got this great idea and you're ready to start a business, but you're not quite sure how much money it's really going to take. Watch this video and you're going to learn what you need to do to budget correctly. Okay, everybody, Stephen Key here, and I have a very special guest and friend that's been in the fight of launching a great product. Ryford, thank you for coming on inventRight TV.
Hey, Stephen, thank you for having me here.
Ryford, I've known you for a long time,
Yeah.
and you're, I would say, a remarkable entrepreneur.
Oh, thank you. I think there's a
Well,
couple.
it's true because you started, I don't think you ever started out small, but compared to where you are today,
Hmm.
you're in all the major retailers, you're dealing with the big boys. I mean, you've got a machine, because you're selling
Yeah.
a lot of product.
Hmm.
So the first question I have for you,
Go ahead.
uh, during this whole process, looking back, if
Hmm.
someone has an idea
Okay.
and they're really serious about it, not a hobby, we're not talking about a hobby, we're talking about someone that's really serious.
Just curious about it. Yeah.
How do you budget how much money it's going to take?
Yeah. Well, listen, that's a great question. And I love answering that because I experienced it myself. What I tell people all the time is always create a budget, a realistic budget, right? And an honest one. And always take it affordable steps. It's about taking the next step, the next affordable step. So if you want to break it down how I started it 14 years ago in my mom's basement, back then I was 26. I was still living with my mom's. I had $25,000 personal savings, and I actually took out a line of credit or a loan just in case, things hits the fan, about 15 grand. So all in all, I have $40,000.
Okay.
Okay, that I had. My very first step was, all right, the very first expense was number one is filing a patent, which was a provisional patent, which back then it was like $100,
Okay.
right? And then the second one is the trademark. I know how important it was, which was like $1,000. And back then it was like 700, right? And then after that, I had to create a prototype.
Okay.
Okay. That prototype took me 2 years to put it together. I'm not a handyman whatsoever. Okay. I'm not. Okay. So I was able to find, I have a friend, I have a family friend who referred me to go to his website, Alibaba, when he first started. And then the first thing is before I reach out to a factory is creating a prototype.
Okay.
So I had somebody, first of all, I found somebody who could actually help me design like a schematic sketch. I
Okay.
found him on Craigslist. So I need to have a professional artwork done so I could send it to the factory.
All right.
Again, there's a lot of going back and forth. How much did it cost me? To be honest with you, I had a budget of like $1,000 to hire a professional graphic designer.
Okay.
Okay. Zero. Because they know I'm just starting out. I had very limited capital. So I was very lucky on that one.
All right.
Okay. So once I have the final schematic sketch of my prototype, I found the factory. By the way, it took me a while to find the right factory. I went through like 30 different factories.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
So once I found a factory to work with, the first prototype cost me, first of all, before I talk about the factory overseas, here in the US, the company that I found and I gave them my sketch, they said it's going to cost me $100,000 to create the molding. I was like, there's no way I'm going to spend $100,000 on the molding. So I found a factory overseas, and the prototype was $1,200, which, by the way, it was a lot back then for me, but I was like, this is my first time, doing this type of thing. I tried to negotiate. Can I just give you half of it first, like 600, and then I'll pay the rest? Like, no, that's not how it works. It's like, all right, here's the sketch, here's the design, just make it. After 30 days or 45 days, I received the prototype. I opened it. Oh my God, I fell in love with it. But the problem is it was too heavy.
Okay.
Literally, it was about 15 pounds. And then I had to send it back to them, and there was going back and forth. So after the prototype, I have the final prototype. Okay. Then once I decided that, okay, cool, let's mass produce it. The minimum quantity was, well, they wanted like 20,000 units.
Wow.
I negotiated to 1,000 units. So that alone cost me about, including freight, about 12 grand,
Okay.
13 grand total. And then after 60 days later, yeah, my first batch of inventory came in 1,000 units. And the first unit that I opened, my heart just fell out because the quality of the product, I didn't improve it. I was like, why is it so rough on like, but on the surface? It's
Uh,
supposed to be smooth. But I was very fortunate that I was able to sell the whole entire units because nobody knows exactly what type of material it is. So I was very lucky about that. So all in all, it cost me with everything from the patent, provisional patent, trademark, prototype, inventory, hiring models because I had to shoot a educational video teaching guys how to cut their own hair. That's another $1,000. So I would say a good less than 20K.
oh,
That's not bad. Less than 20K.
that's pretty good.
Less than 20. Yeah. Less than 20K.
Okay. That's pretty darn good. So you started selling it online, right? Is that how you started out? And selling it online, did you do it all yourself or did you hire anybody at this point?
So I just had a friend who knows computers, who knows how to create a website. So that was basically a couple $100. Um, as far the biggest expense as far as marketing goes was I actually opened up a kiosk at a local mall
All right.
on my 27th birthday,
Okay.
right? I just turned 27. It was on a Saturday. And I was so excited because I was like, wow, like I'm able to like, I got my products here. I'm going to sell, it's the weekend, there's a lot of foot traffic. So
Okay.
my kiosk cost about 1650. Oh my God, I still remember to this day how much it cost. That 1650. Yeah, it was 1650 for a month. And the very first day when I started selling it, so the kiosk opened up to from I believe 11 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Okay.
From 11 a.m., this is on a Saturday, to 9:15 p.m., no sales.
No sales.
I was there all day long. But from 9:15 p.m. to 9:30, I sold 8. So I did about 400,000 sales in less than 15 minutes, the last 15 minutes. So yeah, so I would say, yeah. So all in all, I spent less than 20 grand. Yeah.
Okay. So how, let's jump forward now because that was about close to 15 years ago.
Mhm.
Where are you selling now?
Obviously, we sell on our website, Amazon. We sell on Walmart stores. We have 3 SKUs in all stores of Walmart nationwide. We sold in Sam's Club. We sold in QVC. We're in the process of selling Costco and Target, which is that's a whole different animal, right?
Okay.
And then yeah, and then we're going international, Amazon EU. So
Wow.
yeah.
So you went from spending 20,000
Mhm.
and now you're selling everywhere.
Yeah.
It looks a little different. You're
Oh
financing.
yeah. Oh yeah. Here's the thing. You're gonna laugh at this. It's so weird because I self-funded my business. I didn't took on outside investors, outside funding. Obviously, I'm floating our cash for the inventory, and it's crazy to me where I feel, even though yes, we're a multi-million company, but I feel like I'm broke because I don't have like my cash is in and out. I'm like, I was like, why? It's not like before where I didn't have retail. Online, I'm just like, I have so much cash. But now it's different now. Like I'm like financing my inventory and in a whole different level now. So
So
because we do millions of
you're,
dollars, I'm sorry, go ahead.
yes, tell people when you say finance, let people understand, like when you get a big order,
Mhm.
you've got to make sure you have the inventory, you place the order, it comes, so you pay for all that or or close to paying for it, but then you ship it to a retailer and you don't get paid for 60 days, let's say. So
Yeah,
there's a gap there from when you have to pay the manufacturer to when you sell it to get the money from the retailer. That's that float.
yeah. Mhm.
Is that the finance? Is that the tricky part here for you or for any entrepreneur when they're selling volume at this point now?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm not the only one. At first, when I heard it, I was like, "No, I could manage that," which I can. But there were some sleepless nights. So one good example, just to kind of, better to explain how it works. Let's say you get a PO from Walmart. Let's say $1 million, and let's say just to make the numbers simple, your inventory, including freight, tariff, custom fees, and all this stuff, is half of that. It's $500,000, right? So which means that you got to put down at least 20-30% down for your factory to start producing, right? That's like a deposit. And then usually you pay the rest of it to your factory, the 80%
Okay.
uh, back to your factory. Once they ship out your goods from the factory, that's when you pay,
Okay.
right? In
Oh,
my case, I don't do that. I negotiate with my factory because
okay.
we're dealing with millions of dollars, So, and then on top of that, you got to go, you receive the inventory. So you need two things when it comes to retail. You need the inventory that you're going to send out through stores. And the second one is called the replenishments.
Hmm.
So you have to fulfill all those stores every week. So here's the number one rule when it comes to dealing with big retail box stores. You can't go out of stock. If you go out of stock, if you look at the shelf, so next time you go to Walmart or Target and there's a shelf space, that's real estate. Okay. That's a piece of real estate. So you make sure as a brand or a company that's working with retail, your number one job is to make sure that you fulfill
So,
those orders.
so tell us how financially that impacts someone. Because not only do you have to fill the order, but you have to have inventory to fill it so it sells out. So you've got to have a lot of money out.
Yeah, you got to put that money up front.
How much are we talking about here? Is it in
In
the
my case,
millions?
oh yeah, it's in the millions. And here's the thing: I just learned that the inventory that I'm financing, most of it, I don't even own. I'm just like, it's crazy. Yeah, it's scary, but at the same time, if you do it right, then you don't have a problem if you have a solid team. But when it comes to me personally, financing the business, the floating, it could be scary at times. And there were times that one of the retail stores owed me a little bit over $1 million and took me over a year and a half to get that money back.
Okay.
So
So let's talk about your team for a minute, because one thing that I have realized over the years, working with you and you sharing your journey with me, you're big on building teams.
absolutely.
Yeah. Why is that?
Because you can't do everything yourself. You just can't. In order for a business to grow, if you're going from like a 0 to 1 million, you need to find somebody to help you go from 1 million to 2 million or 3 million. Now you're investing. Now you need to start recruiting talent or somebody who's specialized in that particular field. Like for example, okay, Walmart, the biggest retail stores in the world. I don't speak their language. Okay. So I have to find somebody else to help me
Okay.
get to Walmart. So, and we're able to find them.
And you found someone, we both know who that is, a great guy, Brian Odell. It's Brian Odell, right?
That's Brian Odell. Yep.
Yeah, he does a great job kind of managing that a little bit with all of his experience. How important was that to you?
Oh, that was, man, that was very important because he's been working with Walmart corporate for the last, 25 years. So
Okay.
he knows the business of Walmart. He knows the language. He knows the laws. He knows the policies. He just knows, when it comes to scaling retail.
So how big is your team now?
Right now we have about 12 people,
Okay.
who does obviously logistics, marketing, sales, our managers for our factory. So yeah, there's
Okay. So
12.
it's a big team. Ryford, you're still, one thing I've noticed too, you never stop learning, do you?
No, no, I don't stop learning because the more you learn, the more you earn. I know it sounds kind of corny, but it's true. It's true.
The more
Because
you
I tell
earn, the
my
more you,
people all the time, Stephen, okay, I tell this to my team, okay, things you don't know can cost you money.
oh, I agree.
The things that you don't know can cost you money. And it's to me, instead of saying, okay, the more you learn, the more you earn, I get it. But from my experience, it's the other way around. The things that we don't know can cost us money.
Nice. Because I've noticed that you keep on building different teams for different projects. You go to conferences. You do everything you can to keep learning. That's one thing I've always appreciated, that your strategy, because I think that's helped you become successful in doing all of it. If
Of
you had
course.
to do it over, what would you do? Anything?
Nothing, to be honest with you. Because the reason why I'm here where I'm at today is because of the things that I've learned over the years.
All right.
Learning from you, learning from your, from you and your team, from inventRight, from reading different books, from different people, things that you take in, you make smart decisions, business decisions.
Last question.
Yeah.
If someone was just starting out,
Mhm.
they have this dream like you had,
Okay.
and they're not quite sure what's the next steps, what would you tell them to do?
A couple of things. Number one is you got to be honest with yourself. Okay. What really motivates you? Okay. From me, it was both. Obviously, money. Number two is the type of value that I'm bringing to the world. I come from the barbering industry. This is my background. I love it. So if you have those two things, a real motivation of what really drives you, right? And make sure you're good with numbers financially, because that's what it is. Because as soon as you invent a product,
Okay,
automatically you're in business.
got it. Hmm.
Automatically you're in business, because I see some inventors spent 10, 20 grand on a patent where it's like, you haven't proven the concept yet.
Hmm.
Why? So for me, what I did earlier in my humbling beginnings is, I created a real budget for my product.
Okay. And I think that's a great, great advice. I think a lot of people maybe aren't budgeting correctly. Maybe they're not getting the right information. Maybe they're not quite sure exactly what the steps are.
Yeah.
And that's why we're doing this YouTube video, this whole series, from idea to products, so everyone can learn what the process is and how much money does it really take, and what type of information do you need before you start that journey, because it can be a very expensive and a long journey, 15 years for you. It doesn't happen overnight, does it?
No, it doesn't. And also what really helped me a lot tremendously is that I kept my day job for 7 years as a nurse. So I have $80,000, $100,000 coming in just to kind of cover my personal expenses. And the business, the money that I'm making from my business, I'm just reinvesting. So
Okay.
don't quit your day job. Yeah.
Ryford, thank you very much for coming on inventRight TV. I think you're amazing.
Thank you for having me here, Stephen.
No, great stuff, and we'll have you back. But thank you very much. This is inventRight TV. Keep on coming back. We have more information for you to help you on your journey to launch that product you're thinking about, so you don't make all those mistakes. Thanks, Ryford.
Thanks.
Okay, you've got a great idea and you want to get it to the right companies to license it so they can bring it to market for you. But you don't want to do all the work. Maybe you're a little busy. Maybe you have other things to do, and you want the pros to do it for you. We have a new program that's called Gateway, where we do all the heavy lifting for you. We're going to find the right companies and the right people to make sure your product is pitched correctly. And once there's interest, we're going to help negotiate that licensing agreement behind the scenes to make sure it's fair and balanced. So if you want the pros to do it, and you've got a great idea, and you want to get it to those companies to see if they want your idea too, please check out Gateway.